Okay, let's just dive right into this. So, if you've been following Indian cinema lately, you've probably seen all the buzz surrounding Shraddha Kapoor's upcoming film, Isa Tha. The teasers are out, the excitement is totally palpable, and people are already talking about the intense drama of the plot. But, here's the thing. Today's explainer actually isn't about the movie. Instead, we're going to look at the astonishing real-life woman who inspired the whole shebang, Vitabai Baumang Narangaonkar. Because as you're about to see, her actual real-life story contains way more raw drama, heartbreak, and just sheer unfiltered dedication than any screenplay could ever hope to invent.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of her life, I want you to try something for a second. Picture this. You're at your job. Maybe you're at a desk, maybe you're on a shop floor, or, I don't know, you're right in the middle of a massive presentation. Suddenly, a severe medical emergency hits. What do? Well, naturally, you stop, right? You call for help, rush to a hospital, and you put your well-being first. It's literally the most human, logical response in the world. I want you to keep that super relatable baseline in your head, because I'm about to tell you what Vithabai did in a similar situation, and honestly, it's going to completely shatter your understanding of what it means to be committed to your work.
Now listen to this, and keep in mind this isn't folklore. These are the accepted historical accounts of a real event that completely defined her legacy. So Vithabai was 9 months pregnant, and she's right in the middle of performing in front of this packed, raucous crowd. Out of nowhere, she goes into active labor. Did she cancel the show? Call an ambulance? No way. She just quietly stepped backstage, and then she delivered her baby right there in the makeshift backstage area. And because she didn't have any medical tools on hand, she literally cut the umbilical cord with a stone. A stone! And then, if you can believe it, she actually prepared to step right back out into the spotlight to finish her performance.
Yeah, you heard that right. And you know what the crazy part is? It wasn't the agonizing pain of childbirth that stopped her. It wasn't even exhaustion. It was the audience. When the crowd out front realized what had just happened backstage, they were absolutely stunned. They literally had to refuse to let her continue. They insisted that she finally rest. Just think about the physical and mental fortitude that requires. This single moment right here absolutely cements her as having an unparalleled, almost superhuman dedication to the stage.
Section 1. Roots in Traveling Tamasha.
So, to really grasp where that incredible drive comes from, we gotta look at her beginnings. For those of you who might not be super familiar, Tamasha and Lavani are these vibrant, traditional Maharashtrian folk art forms. And we're not just talking about standing at a microphone and singing. This involves high-energy vocals, intricate and frankly exhausting dancing, dramatic storytelling, and constant, grueling travel from village to village to perform in these makeshift traveling theatrical setups. It is intensely physically demanding, deeply culturally rich, and it requires you to basically give every single ounce of your energy to the live audience right in front of you. And Vithabai, she was built for this life, because she was quite literally born into it. She was born on July 1, 1935 in Pandharpur, Maharashtra, and performing, well, it wasn't just a job, it was her family's entire way of life. Her grandfather, Narayan Hude, actually founded a traveling tamasha troupe, and her father, Bau Bapu Narangaonkar, carried that really heavy baton forward. So Vithabai grew up completely surrounded by the chaos and color of traveling stages. She didn't attend some fancy, formal acting school. No. The dusty roads between villages, the vibrant costumes, and the immediate vocal feedback of live rural audiences, that was her classroom. And as she grew up on those stages, her talent just became impossible to ignore, which actually brings us to a massive turning point in her career.
Section 2. Rejecting the Bollywood Dream.
So, Vithabai's stage presence was electric. Like, so electric, in fact, that the celebrated Marathi playwright Mama Varkar saw her perform and immediately invited her to join his troupe, which elevated her fame way beyond the local villages. And as her popularity absolutely skyrocketed, the biggest door in Indian entertainment opened up for her. Film offers started pouring in. We're talking alleged interest from the legendary filmmaker himself, Raj Kapoor. Imagine that for a second. It's the golden age of Indian cinema, and the absolute biggest names in Bollywood are knocking on your door, offering fame, fortune, the whole shebang. But she said no. She stayed fiercely, stubbornly loyal to the folk tradition that had shaped her life. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth would she say no to that? Well, the sheer selflessness of her choice is staggering. Let's weigh it out. On one hand, she had individual Bollywood stardom, wealth, and widespread cinematic immortality basically handed to her. But on the other hand, she had her troupe. According to accounts detailed in theater director Shantanu Guli's acclaimed play Vitta, she knew that if she left the traveling tamasha circuit for the movies, the troupe would completely collapse without its star.
She rejected unimaginable personal fame to protect the financial survival and the livelihoods of the dozens of hardworking artistes who depended on her. She chose her people over herself. But while she was a hero to her troupe and an absolute legend to her audiences, her life out of the spotlight was profoundly different.
Section 3. Struggles Behind the Curtain.
There is this really dark, heartbreaking contrast between her glittering onstage success and her deeply troubled private life. Accounts portrayed in Shantanu Guli's play reveal that her marriage to Maruti Savant was just filled with trauma. While she was out there entertaining thousands and acting as the primary breadwinner, her earnings were allegedly strictly controlled by her husband. And worse still, she was subjected to domestic abuse. So think about this. You have this incredibly powerful woman, commanding enough to hold thousands of people in the palm of her hand during a Lavani performance, yet she was battling severe emotional and financial hardships the very second she stepped off that stage. Section 4. A bittersweet final legacy. Ultimately, this lifetime of intense sacrifice, grueling work, and private suffering took a massive toll. Looking at her later years, Vithabai was recognized at the absolute highest levels of the Indian government. She was honored by the President of India for her contributions to Tamasha not once, but twice, first in 1957 and then again decades later in 1990. She was a national treasure for sure. But look at what happens just 12 years after that second presidential honor. After suffering a paralytic attack, she passes away on January 15, 2002. Not in comfort, but in severe poverty. It actually wasn't until 2006, 4 years after her tragic death, that the Maharashtra government finally instituted a Lifetime Achievement Award in her name to honor senior Tamasha artistes.
The reality of her passing in 2002 is just incredibly heartbreaking to think about. I mean, this was a woman who gave literally everything to her art. The woman who delivered a baby backstage and tried to keep dancing. The woman who rejected Bollywood just to keep her fellow actors fed. Yet when she passed away, reports revealed that her family couldn't even afford to clear her hospital bills. They struggled to arrange the basic transportation needed for her final rites. It was only when admirers, cultural organizations, and well-wishers finally stepped in that she was given the dignity she deserved in her final journey. Which really leaves us with this heavy, vital question to close things out. Why do our biggest cultural icons so often fade into extreme poverty the minute the spotlight moves on? Vithabai and Arangankar's story is a total testament to the unbelievable resilience of the human spirit and the raw power of folk art. But, it's also a harsh reminder of the real, tangible human cost behind the entertainment we consume every day. Next time you see a performer giving it their all on screen or on stage, take a moment to wonder about the sacrifices they're making behind the curtain. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the stories behind the spotlight. Catch you next time.